Hello, hello, hello from Montana. I was so privileged to move here about, I don't know, 2 years ago, and it wasn't even on my bucket list. And this obviously is a photo, but it is a background, but it is right out my office window. I can't shoot into the light because there's too much backlight. So I try to take photos to share the beauty. I feel so privileged to be here in this beautiful, sacred place. And I'm really glad to see you again. I really appreciate your time and your connection. So thank you. And in today's version of Inspiration for Transformation, I'm going to go a little dark and a little deep. So I was the middle of five children in a family where two addicts I learned were at the helm. My father's a genius astrophysicist, but at 7:30 a.m., I'd hear him uncork the whiskey bottle and go glug, glug, glug. And my mother had five children in very short succession, and her turn at higher education never came. And she sued through overeating and food. And back then, you were prescribed diet pills from your physician to help that issue. And it wasn't until my mid 20s that I realized, oh my gosh, my mother was on diet pills, which were speed. And I also believe in my heart she was struggling with mental illness because she could be so kind and loving. She would give Martha Stewart a run for her money because she was so creative and an amazing homemaker. But her personality would shift on a dime and without warning. And for what I couldn't perceive why, I was being beaten, seeing stars, and browning out. And so when I was 6 years old, I had my first wrestle with suicidal ideation. I never felt quite like I belonged in my house and in my family. I felt different. I would look up to the stars and pray that the angels would whisk me away and I could leave my assignment. And suicidal ideation, suicidal impulses were something that I struggled with off and on throughout my adulthood. Yeah, it's been really tough, but what's helped me the most is to think it through. I mean, obviously, when I was six, and the story is all on my website, just go there, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get a free audio to the prelude to my book, and you'll hear that story specifically. Not at six, but later in my mid to late 20s, then again in my 30s, and then again later at the tail end of a brutal divorce that maybe I'll tell the story of another day. Um, I had the impulses and started the planning and started the thinking, and I learned tools to nip it in the bud. So, and getting support from others was a big piece of it. Um, the time that I got suicidal towards the end of my divorce, I set up an individual friend for each day of the week. So 7 individuals, and each were assigned a day that was convenient of the week until I had all the days covered and the weekends too. And I would commit to calling that individual that's on their assigned day and check in and give a 1 to 10 on where I was. And if I was suicidal at all, I would agree to call the next person if I wasn't able to check in with the assigned person. And that's what got me through the tail end of my divorce and through my suicidal urges. Now, we're all individuals. I've had so much work in major modalities of therapy, including talk therapies and somatic forms of therapy, meaning going into my body and feeling and exploring the pockets of trauma that I still hold. So we're all different. This was just my experience. I'm not recommending the same for you. I'm recommending you get professional help, seek professional help. But I do want to share these tools of inspiration for transformation. Another big one was that if I did go through with my plan, I may be taking the wrong person out. And it was suggested, I don't know if it's true or not, maybe I spent too many years in Southern California and Hui, but it was suggested that if I took myself out, I'd have to come back in and repeat the scenario until my soul really got the lesson. And honestly, that kept me on the planet and away from taking actions when I was severely depressed, because I didn't want to come back and repeat. The pain was so great. And it's been a walk, and it's been an exploration, but I now understand and can see those experiences and those really dense and heavy traumatic feelings. I can see them as gifts. I can see them as opportunities to really grow and evolve and shift and change. And most people say that I don't look like a person who would have walked through the childhood home that I did, the clinical depression in my adulthood, the addiction, the narcissistic abuse that I have. And I look happy. I feel happy. I feel now that I glow, I radiate an essence that helps transform others that are suffering with things that I've suffered with. And that's been my inspiration to write the book that I did, which is called Toxic Family: Transforming Childhood Trauma into Adult Freedom, and to also create these free videos to help others who may be struggling, to inspire you, to let you know that you are not alone in your walk, and we are definitely in this together. So thanks for hanging in there with me for another conversation around inspiration for transformation. I hope you'll come back. Like the video if you do, share it, subscribe, and please go to my website, susangold.us. There's all sorts of free tools there that may be of help. And until next time, it's great to see you.